Take West Africa, for example. You look at the volume of trade among West African countries. It is low. It is infinitesimal compared to, other regions. So this technology can connect these fragmented economies and deepen our economic ties and improve trade and so on and so forth. So I think both technologically and economically, regulators have to find a common ground, have to strike a balance between the need for regulation and the need for consumer protection and the need to ensure financial stability.
Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of Just Africa. And of course, today I'm so happy. The conversation continues from what we've been talking about, having digital currency, but we're looking at it from a different angle. And of course, today we'll be having a very interesting guest to come and help us spotlight the show. But of course, we'll first of all welcome you to a very interesting episode of the show on Just Africa, which is also called Studio Television, where we spotlight ideas, people, and of course, opportunities shaping the African continent. Across Africa, cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance, digital assets, and of course, a blockchain-based governance are expanding faster than the regulatory structures meant to guide them. Millions of young Africans are engaging with crypto products for payments, trading, savings, remittances, and of course, cross-border commerce. Yet the absence of consistent policy frameworks exposes users to scams, market volatility, and compliance risks that undermine long-term trust in the ecosystem. This segment of Just Africa focuses on how the continent can build a responsible, innovative crypto economy capable of driving financial inclusion without compromising safety or stability. I am Emmanuel Amalo, and of course, I have with me my very delectable African princess, African queen at this point, or maybe Idola. How are you doing?
In fact, anyway you say, I'm okay. The African princess. Everybody
who sees you knows, they understand that.
Because this is Just Africa. So what do you expect? Hello, welcome to Just Africa on Studio Television. To you, wherever you're watching from across the globe, yes, you're welcome once again. Yeah, you were talking about...
Well, probably from what we discussed with Gloria the last time she came and was teaching us, and I had to send her a message afterwards. Said, look, all the while we were having that conversation, I had so many wide mouth moments because most of the things she was saying, I knew them, but I didn't know them. If that would make sense, because I knew about them, but how intricate they were and how she was explaining and breaking them down, I never heard that before, and it was a very enlightening one. I said, okay, let's continue with that same conversation.
You know, when we talk about crypto and decentralized finance, it is not a hype. Honestly, it is no longer a hype because in Africa right now, everyone is moving to the use of crypto for payments, for convenience. You know, people don't want to go through certain stress anymore, so they feel that the traditional banking system is time wasting, is expensive. There are so many factors. People are running away from the conventional
special thanks to COVID, because it was COVID.
Exactly, you understand. The COVID period helped open the eyes of Africans, open the eyes of the world, not just Africans. That was where the remote job came about. Yes, people. I love what the government did during that time. The government staff had to come to work maybe 3 times a week or twice.
But it didn't affect productivity as much. So people could see that you work from your homes and still use the same productivity.
You understand? So that was what happened with crypto and decentralized finance. But you know, when opportunity comes, it doesn't just come like that. It also comes with risks.
Its own risks as well, which is
so
that is
exactly. So there are so many risks around crypto. Crypto and decentralized finance. These things are things that, yes, we'll be talking about. People are scared of investing into cryptocurrencies. People are scared of going into the business of buying and selling. People are scared of even say, okay, how do I go about it? And you also believe me right now that many people still don't even know how this works. You understand? So when you tell someone, I am actually looking forward to the point where people will come to the market and say, can I pay with crypto? Can I you understand? So
you understand the system.
You understand?
How long do you think that for that?
We don't know because it took Nigerians just using Nigeria as an example,
yes,
a very long time for them to
accept it. I mean, even government has to place restrictions at some point. Yes,
you to accept these fintechs that are operating now, because at some point people will tell you, I don't want you to run away with my money and all that. So I know that there are challenges of scam, lies, lack of trust, and so many things that come with it and all that. But then, in all of these noises, we must find a way
to ensure the world is going
in that direction. We must find a way to ensure that yes, people can use this without destroying innovation, without killing the things that are already existing. So there are so many things that we're going to get out of this.
For today's conversation, our guest today is Olayimika Oyebanji, whose multifaceted experience as a crypto journalist, a blockchain lawyer, a decentralized finance researcher, and contributor to global DAOs such as Mundao and, of course, Ukraine DAO, which makes him uniquely positioned to unpack the balance between innovation and regulation. Olayimika's deep exposure to global trends, interviews with top Web3 leaders, and, of course, hands-on work is in decentralized governance provides the strategic context needed to guide policymakers and innovators through their work. Welcome to the show, Mr. Olayimika.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you.
All right. So, I mean, first off, right, DeFi. I used to see DeFi everywhere. Thank you. And so I've explained to us what Web3 is, so I'm going to leave that one. What does DeFi mean, or decentralized finance?
All right, thank you. DeFi is the acronym for decentralized finance.
Okay.
What that simply means is the duplication of traditional financial services and products using distributed ledger technology, which we popularly call DLT, which in other words, when you try to expand it, refers to blockchain technology. It came about as a result of the financialization of crypto. And what that simply means is that crypto at some point became repurposed or structured as financial product. And you have intermediaries, or what we commonly refer to as systematically important crypto intermediaries, offering these financial services and products, whether in centralized finance or decentralized finance.
To be honest, I can understand this plenty. The word jargon is not bad, but this plenty jargon that is limited to you guys that do crypto, right? But these things seem very complicated. However, the African continent, especially the young population, seem to be embracing or adopting cryptocurrencies and, of course, the system at a very rapid pace. Why is that so?
We can actually offer a natural causation. We can tie these to some sort of, it wasn't coincidental. First point, Africa as a continent is known to have the largest youth population in the world. It cannot be a coincidence that at this material time, we are experiencing a rapid, adoption of a novel technology like cryptocurrency. So normally, something like that would naturally appeal to the youth population. That is why I said it can be a coincidence. I think I would like to say we're prepared for it. The African continent as a whole was prepared for it, and cryptocurrency is something to be explored. And that's why you see that across the world, different countries are moving in that direction, either putting regulations in place to support it. We've seen some bans in some countries, yes, but overall, we can actually say that there is an increased understanding and acceptance of cryptocurrency, not just as a crypto, but as a technology of the future. So in a continent like Africa and in Nigeria, most especially, our youth population has been the key driver of this industry, has moved this industry forward. And there are several factors behind that. You have things like financial freedom, youth unemployment, inflation, and one last point that we don't always like to talk about, the rise of internet fraud. These are important talking points when it comes to crypto adoption in Africa or globally. But when we try to contextualize it, let's talk about Africa. In some countries, crypto and some other innovations, are nice to have, right? But in Africa here, I think these things are more connected. They're connected with, the desire to survive. They are basically survival tools. Right, digital assets are survival tools in Africa. And that's why we have to really understand the context that applies here. So we've seen a massive adoption. And one thing you cannot take away from cryptocurrency always comes with a rapid expansion And the crypto markets today is valued at around over $3 trillion. So crypto and market expansion go hand in hand. Yeah, you're right to say at the beginning of this conversation that there's been an adoption. Adoption has outpaced regulation. Yes, that is absolutely true. That explains the nature of the crypto market globally. So the rapid expansion of the crypto market has challenged the existing traditional
ways of finance. Yes.
Exactly. So that's why I said that crypto and adoption, rapid expansion, go hand in hand.
I love the fact that you tried to explain this crypto and some of the challenges. But I want to ask right now, you mentioned scam. There are so many questions that I want to ask from what you said. But many youth, the fact that yes, there are so many youth that are trading already, there are still many more youth who do not understand crypto beyond trading. So the question is, how do you make these people understand the importance of crypto beyond trading, beyond the trading hype generally?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for most people, the point of entry is crypto trading. And, especially when you get to know that there's a lot of money to be made from trading. I think that's just a natural phenomenon. Like, people follow that incentive. And, when that is what is driving the vast majority of traders, I mean, people who come into this industry, you get a narrative that seems to suggest that the only thing that is, happening in this industry, effort have been made to challenge that assumption. There are a lot of people who actually know that crypto transcends, just trading or this chase for airdrops and what have you. But I think what matters to most people is the money that they can actually make from crypto. And like in any other market, you'd see that people, when you have that kind of incentive, the vast majority of the people would not be interested in the tech, but in the incentive or the monetary or the money you can actually get from it. So you can actually have market segment analysis or do a breakdown. So try to look at, ask around, like, why are people really interested in this market? So that you'd find that the vast majority of the responses would, tilt towards, the financial incentive part of it. There are people, and that is not to say that there are not people who are involved, in this industry, who are basically interested in just the tech part of it, right? In the potential of cryptocurrency of blockchain to revolutionize traditional finance, for example.
Before Amulo takes you, I wanted to ask, we've talked about scam. People are so scared of going into crypto because of scam, because of the Ponzi schemes that are there. And we have regulatory boards. There are people who regulate all this. So if we are still talking about scam and Ponzi scheme emanating from crypto and decentralized finance, how do we now tackle the challenges, or what are the challenge gaps that we have in this whole decentralized finance, and how do we manage them?
All right, great question. So I'm going to say that there have been positive signals from across the world legitimizing cryptocurrency. And let's take, for example, the United States recently signed a major legislation into law called the Genius Act. And also in the EU, you have MiCA, which stands for Market in Crypto Assets. It is a major legislation, governing crypto assets in the EU region. So these are key jurisdictions across the world that have been, putting measures in place, creating laws to legitimize or formalize the industry. So in Nigeria, we only need to take some clues from these jurisdictions to, be able for us to understand that crypto is not is not all about crime, is not all about money laundering, and so on and so forth.
What is taking us so long to make those laws in Nigeria and in Africa? Why is it not happening? If other parts of the world, other continents are already making those laws as of today, what is holding us back as a country and as a continent?
Rome was not built in a day. I think we needed to have a global regulatory benchmark. It cannot be done in a hurry. We should we only have to get it right from the get-go. Okay, and that has been our major challenge from day one. Nigeria currently has a regulatory framework, which is not a robust framework in the real sense. Okay, it is nothing to be compared to other regulatory frameworks like the Genius Act or the Marketing Crypto Asset Act in the EU, or the Singapore's Payment Service Providers Act. So we needed to have to study or to understudy to have a global regulatory benchmark as a reference point. Because first, we have to really understand that this is a complex technology. So we cannot
rush it. Yes.
Make rules. Yeah, exactly. We cannot make rules without recognizing that this one is a complex technology, and then two, there are gray areas. There are gray areas that must be addressed. We've taken the major step, which is to sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. I was just going to jump in because of what you were talking about. Because truly, Mr. Oyebanji, many people are just like my co-anchor just highlighted. We just play on the surface of just buy and trade. Yeah. These are the complicated ones. I am sure if you check the African continent, those of you who probably know the intricate part of it are not even up to 10%. Right? The rest of us who play in the field of cryptocurrency just do trading. And that trading, many of us also get burnt in it because we don't also know those little things. So I'm going to be particular about some of the jargons that are peculiar to cryptocurrency. You did Moon DOA or D. I want you to first explain what that means.
DAO, yeah.
DAO, yes. So you did Ukraine and then you did Moon. Did you go to the Moon or you going to Ukraine? Because I don't understand what those things are. Break that down first. And of course, when you did your work with them, what did you find out, especially when it comes to in terms of decentralized and centralized finance?
Okay, I mean, I actually lost you at some point at the fag end of the question you asked. But if you are you asking me to talk about my experience?
Yes. You will do that, but first of all, explain to us what DAO means, because you said Moon DAO and then there's Ukraine DAO. There's no Russian DAO, so I don't know what this means. And then tell us your work with them and what you found out.
Yeah, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, like short for DAO, is an internet native organization. Like it is let us just call it an online organization of people spread across different geographies, in different countries, coming together to achieve a common goal.
Okay.
Using blockchain technology for fundraising, using blockchain technology for governance. So these two things are actually key to DAOs. So let's just imagine that, okay, you are currently here in Nigeria and you can take part in decision making, all right, without being present at a physical location online by virtue of maybe your subscription or your ownership or ownership of a crypto, or we call it token. Okay, so your ownership of that token gives you certain rights and privileges. First, it gives you it makes you a member of that DAO. So what a DAO does is it tries to change the paradigm. It challenges the traditional paradigms, especially in the areas of fundraising, philanthropy, work, organization, and so on and so forth. So just imagine a group of people coming together, raising funds, not through GoFundMe, not through GoFundMe, but through a crypto or a token, and dedicating that fundraising towards achieving a particular goal.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me talk about the example of Moon DAO. I was a core contributor to Moon DAO, and what that simply means is that I was a key member or a key part of that internet native organization. So we're people, we're in different countries. We're from different countries. We meet regularly. We take part in decision making. So Moon DAO is the first decentralized autonomous organization, that type of organization in history, to sponsor an individual to outer space. In 2022. Yeah. In 2022, a a YouTube star named Kobe Cotton was sponsored to outer space on NS-22 Blue Origin. So that was a Blue Origin flight for that year. It's called NS-22. So it was part of the passengers on board that traveled to outer space. Mundao was actually able to achieve. Mundao's goal was to decentralize access to space.
Okay.
And that was basically because space travel is, is
looking like an elitist
the reserve
thing.
of the ultra rich. You have to be stupendously wealthy to be able to afford a ticket to space. So we came together as an organization and thought of a way to decentralize access to space. So why not just let the ordinary people have be able to also. So that was one of Mundao's goal. And beyond that, Mundao was also looking towards establishing a colony on space. So the space industry as a whole is tightly regulated and privatized. So you talk about the likes of NASA, Blue Origin, Space, just name them. These are powerful institutions you kind of ask the question of what can an internet native organization like Mundao do to challenge that,
what's already existing. So essentially, when you talk about decentralized anything, like decentralized finance or decentralized autonomous organization, you are simply saying, let it be open to or accessible to anybody, irrespective of your social strata in life or in society. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. The word decentralization it goes with that connotation of cutting off the intermediaries, right? The rent seekers. Okay, so just basically, it is like creating a level playing ground can be interpreted
for everybody.
The key point about decentralization is cutting off the intermediaries, right? So Munda was basically trying to open up access to space, which it believed is tightly regulated or controlled by a few powerful elite.
Still on the line of decentralization. Now I want to bring it down to crypto a little bit more from DAO. Now, if decentralization is the way forward, if decentralization is the promise, why is it that crypto failures, the end users or the ordinary people, are the ones that suffer the losses?
That was weird.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, I'd like to really make some clarification. You see, when we talk about decentralization, we are talking about Web3. Decentralization refers to Web3 technologies.
Okay.
Crypto is an important part. But say crypto, it is not the generic term or the generic word. So it is it is specific. Okay, to it can be used to describe multiple different types of cryptocurrencies. Okay, so but that word crypto, but the broad term for it is digital asset or virtual asset. Okay. So we would like to use the word crypto loosely to refer to even the Web3 industry and even to decentralization. Okay, so crypto can refer to either decentralized finance or centralized finance, DeFi or CeFi. So both these are two different components.
Okay.
Yeah. So to answer the question, I used the term at the beginning of this conversation. I said financialization. When we try to explain the reasons for crypto scams or crypto failures, when we talk about crypto scams, we're talking about instances of crypto theft, hacks, phishing, and so on and so forth. But crypto failures, we are generally referring to the collapse of crypto companies, intermediaries, or established players in the industry. So there have been several crypto failures and as well as scams. It looks like an endless cycle, but the truth is that, like any other system that is built to that is designed by humans, there is always you always see the fallibility.
Yeah.
So though it has a massive potential, but it is not perfect. Far from it. So, but I mean, that should actually explain the reasons for that. But one thing we can all agree to is that crypto is here to stay, and it is a revolutionary technology that requires, a nuanced understanding and a proper regulation to thrive, and not, outright ban or rejection like we just experienced in a country like Trinidad and Tobago, where a 5-year ban has been effectively placed on crypto. Okay, so we have to really understand that this technology is the technology of the future.
Yeah.
Okay, and it is here to stay.
You are a very major participant, I won't say player, participant in this industry. Which of these applications, DeFi or the blockchain, which one holds a very great potential for the African continent because of the way our financial structure is? Which one holds a very strong potential?
Generally, you if you look at the broad application of cryptocurrency, I think we have demonstrated that this technology is a technology of the future in several ways.
Yes.
Like, in terms of, you look at the adoption number, I think Nigeria recently dropped to number 6. So we were the second country with the largest crypto ownership in the world, I think, after the US. So we've seen that the adoption gives us an idea of where this technology is heading. And it also exposes regulatory gaps or things that actually need to be done to harness the massive potential of this technology. For the African continent, stablecoin, for example, has demonstrated that transactions, businesses, transactions can move at the speed of light.
Wow.
We can actually do without the legacy traditional finance systems and move to a more sophisticated or a better alternative. So stablecoin, for example, has transfer cost advantage. You can do cheap transactions using stablecoin, and there's so much flexibility. So there is the reason why. This partly explains why you see the massive adoption number today.
All right, thank you very much. I like the fact that because that was what I actually wanted to ask, what crypto actually does for the African continent. Okay, so now that you've mentioned that, I want to ask, if crypto disappears today from Africa, from the Black continent, who will suffer the most? Is it the government? Is it the traders? Is it investors? Whom do you think is going to face going to feel the pain? Let me not use face consequences. Feel the pain the most.
Yeah, I think the African continent as a whole will miss out on what is described as a revolutionary technology. I mean, we were not part of the Industrial Revolution. We were. I think you look at what crypto can actually offer or do for us. Well, I would make bold to say that it can speed up, our potential to catch up with the rest of the world. Like economically, it can boost African economies, like if properly harnessed, and if you have, the right regulation in place, it can attract foreign investments, can open up. So these are markets that are fragmented. Okay, I'll take West Africa for example. You look at the volume of trade among West African countries. It is low. It is infinitesimal compared to other regions. So this technology can connect these fragmented economies and deepen our economic ties and improve, trade and so on and so forth. So I think if both technologically and economically, it gives us a level playing ground.
So which means both the government and the individual will suffer the loss if it happens.
I mean, the continent is going to, like I said, just to reiterate what I said earlier, the African continent as a whole would be missing out on, that revolution.
Okay.
So I can't actually say that one segment would suffer more than others. Right? Just generalize it, and then tied to our economy.
But our centralized financial systems, right? The traditional ones that we know before these guys, cryptocurrency and it's like came on board, we already know this is the future. But would it knock off what we were used to or we are used to? How safe or how secure are the centralized one now, especially in the future?
That's a great question. You see, the point is globally, not just in Africa.
Yes.
Globally, the point for regulation is to first ensure consumer protection and to reduce or to establish oversight over the industry, because especially there are talking points when it comes to regulation. I mean, in terms of the significant risk that a technology like blockchain or cryptocurrency poses to the global financial system, right? So Africa, for example, African regulators, for example, would have to really deepen their understanding. Okay, and there have been concerted efforts to kind of establish a link between centralized traditional finance and decentralized finance or centralized finance. Okay, because a recent report by the Financial Stability Board, by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, I think a July 2025 report revealed that there is increased linkages of traditional finance and centralized finance. So we only have to find a way to make sure that there is no spillover risk, because that's a significant regulatory concern globally, even in the United States. This prompted the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the US, to publish a report recently stating that the crypto market does not constitute a significant risk to the US economy. So that's to tell you that regulators across the world are concerned about a potential spillover risk, okay, that the adoption, okay, or the increased adoption of this technology poses to their economies. So, yeah, I mean, we have to regulators have to find a common ground. Have to strike a balance between the need for regulation and the need for consumer protection and the need to ensure financial stability.
All right, thank you very much. Now, talking about regulators, the African governments, do you think they are regulating the crypto because they have knowledge of it, or because they are afraid of control or not having control of what they do not know about?
That's a good question. I mean, you see, the point is, the question can be answered. I think it can be answered in both ways. It can be a yes and a no answer. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, but you see, to talk about fear, yes, it is somewhat right to actually say that they have been motivated mostly by fear and not a proper understanding of this technology.
Okay.
Okay. And you'd see in the outcome of the policies that they make. Look, a country like Trinidad and Tobago, for example, that has recently placed a 5-year ban on crypto, on anything crypto in that country. I mean, that's fear and not understanding. And you would find it that revealed that it did so because of pressure from an organization like the Financial Action Task Force, and over concerns over money laundering and terrorist financing. So most you look at it, I don't want to do a cross-jurisdictional analysis. I just want to I would like to use a few examples.
Okay.
Like let's bring it home here, Nigeria. Okay. So Nigeria also cannot be spared from that accusation. The SEC, the Nigeria Securities and Exchange Commission, has really done a great job, but there are certain policy flaws that need to be addressed. Okay, like take for example, there's no way you can have a regulatory framework that securitizes all digital assets. Okay, the SEC the SEC operates under a regulatory framework known as the Investment and Securities Act 2025, which classifies all digital assets as securities. Okay, this, I don't know what to call this, but this is not fear, but it is clearly a lack of understanding of the functional diversity of digital assets. Okay, so and that's the outcome that you get when a regulator like the Nigeria SEC does not recognize the functional diversity of digital assets. So in 2025, I think around March, or I think it was May or June, Nigeria's president Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the Investment and Securities Act 2025 into law. Okay, securitizing all digital assets. So the signing of that legislation into law made or classified all digital assets as securities. That's a fundamental policy flaw that needs to be addressed by way of legislative intervention.
Okay.
There's no country in the world that did that or that has done that. And the SEC would not be right to say that it did that because of concerns over the risk that crypto poses to our economy. Because in other countries where a function-driven approach was adopted, what a function-driven approach means is that you recognize the fact that these assets are not one and the same. They are different. They have different features. You have crypto that serve payment purposes. Then you have crypto that serve investment purposes, and there are those that are purely for governance purposes. Well, you can't lump all of them together. But we have a law.
Olayimika, I want to cut you here because I understand that, yes, you're trying to point out some flaws in some of the policies that the government has made in Nigeria and maybe in Africa at large. But right now, I want to ask first, which is heavier, the fear or the knowledge? Which one is carrying the weight right now that we need to address, like right now?
Yeah, the fragmentation we are also, one of the fundamental challenges that we are experiencing is institutional fragmentation.
Okay.
We need a law that would harmonize, that would clearly establish the mandate of various agencies that are responsible for the regulation of crypto in Nigeria. At the moment, we do not have that. That does not exist.
Okay.
The INSA 2025 does not. It only gave the SEC the mandate, over digital assets, to the exclusion of other vital agencies. Laws are not made like that. The SEC cannot be solely responsible for the regulation of crypto in Nigeria.
Yeah.
If we are going to follow globally recognized blueprint like MICA, so we cannot arrive at that conclusion, where SEC would be the sole regulator of that.
Sole regulator, yes.
Important institutions like the CBN, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, the EFCC, the NRS, now the NRS, the Nigerian Revenue, key institutions that can also be part of the regulatory machinery.
Yeah.
So, and that's basically what we're trying to correct. And that's what the National Assembly recently set up an ad hoc committee on cryptocurrency and POS operations in Nigeria, headed by the distinguished Honorable Olufemi Bamishile. So the mandate of this committee is to correct some of these anomalies, to draft a new law for the regulation of digital assets, crypto assets in Nigeria. So, and the committee has held several hearings. I mean, policy flaws have been discovered and criticized, and steps have been taken to correct them by way of legislative intervention. So it means now we are back to the National Assembly. We're supposed to start from the National Assembly.
Yeah.
Okay. If we are going to have a robust legislative framework for the regulation of digital assets in Nigeria, our starting point is the National Assembly. We need a bill, not just a regulatory intervention or a hurriedly put together framework.
Yeah, that even aligns with what you were saying about we don't have to rush it. We'll just take it step by step so that at least when we have the final product, it's wholesome. I think I like that. But then again, we've talked about what the government can do or needs to do. But what can we as Africans, we as users, we as operators, what do we need to do or what do we need to learn so that we will not be exploited? Because the truth of the matter is, like we said, we're just doing trading and selling, or trading essentially. But what do we need to learn? What do we need to know about so that this wave does not catch us unawares and then waste our resources?
Yeah, I mean, it is really important to follow, to try to catch up with the legal developments that are taking place in the industry. Yeah, that's usually the
very important.
You really, if you're a part of any industry, you just have to be up to date. You have to know what is really happening, especially in the legal, because countries, we are now moving towards the institutionalization of crypto. So crypto is soon going to become an important part of our broader finance or traditional finance. So where would have access to product and services where you can maybe trade crypto from your banking app.
Yes.
Okay, just like we do. So we are seeing that that future is closer than we can imagine. So if we just have to really understand that, like I said earlier, crypto is not. It's really not about crime. So we have to have a change of mindset, and we have to really understand the economic benefits that it can also offer. So yes, we have to be up to date, just like I said. And then again, it is important to also try to push for positive legislation, like a forward-looking legislation, because we are also an important stakeholder. Like if you cut across different categories, investors, if you're an investor, you're a trader, you're also an important part of the industry. So we have to push for positive rules, legislation that's, not only opens up the market, but, protect investors, protect our interests. Nate.
Okay. All right. Okay, so before we let you go, I just need you 1 minute to tell a 90-year-old boy, if you were sitting across a 90-year-old boy who wants to put his first salary into crypto business, into crypto right now, what would you warn him against? What are the things you tell him? You gotta look out for this. You have to look out for scams, and these are the signs for scams. These are the things you should look out for. And of course, not forgetting the part that they want to hear the big, you're going to make money out of it. So I don't want that kind of advice. But what would you tell him?
There is one rule of thumb. Do not invest more than you can
lose.
More than you can
afford to lose.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a guiding principle. The truth about trading is that, this people often say this, but it is rigged against the vast majority of the people. So, and nothing is certain. Yeah, past market actions does not guarantee future outcomes. So, a 19-year-old would be very well advised to know that in crypto you should not invest more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah.
So it means you have to understand that the stakes are high. Then you have to understand, that you can't afford to invest more money than you can afford to lose.
Yeah, I mean, that advice cuts across even beyond just crypto. Before you take your 10% alone and give to your pastor of the church, also remember where else better to save it. Anyway, thank you so much, Olayimika Oyebanji, for your insights, and of course, I thank you for joining us on Just Africa today. It was so nice having you on the show to break this down.
Thank you.
All right. Our conversation today makes one point unmistakable. Africa's crypto future will depend on how well we balance opportunity with responsibility. For governments, the expected behavioral change is to shift from reactive restrictions to proactive, evidence-based regulations. He was talking about, now that there's laws, or they are planning to do laws that can, guide the regulation. The truth of the matter is, even if you borrow from another country, you have to localize it.
Exactly.
Because the way they are adopting the crypto is not the same way they are adopting it. Sure. Even though we are looking at, maybe there's crime related to it. In some way, we may not even measure up to what other people are doing it full-fledged. We are just here still practicing it. But perhaps when the laws come, we can, be able to manage some of these things because they are not traditional to us.
Yes, and the lawmakers or the regulators should have a very deep knowledge of what crypto is, because regulating what you do not have knowledge of.
Yeah, you just rush in and rush out. For founders, it is to embrace transparency, compliance, and of course, value-driven innovation. And for citizens like you and I who are still planning to go into crypto, it is to develop safer, informed digital financial habits. If Africa gets this right, decentralized finance can become a transformative tool, driving inclusion, unlocking capital, and of course, integrating the continent into a rapidly changing global digital economy. The future is decentralized, but only if we build it with intention.